So today I want to talk about how to manage a leads pipeline so that you can schedule meetings or schedule appointments. So clients come to us all the time and they say, Gary, we're getting a lot of leads from our marketing company or marketing group or what have you, and the sales reps can't convert them to meetings. And then the sales rep tells me all the time, well, Gary, the leads are weak. And I said, really? So what I want to do today is maybe try and help you understand that it's not the leads, especially if you don't have a system for converting them to meetings. And there's a process to it. And I've talked to you before on some of our other trainings about having sales professionals who are not BDR trained, who are not hunters, try to qualify these leads and convert them to meetings. And because they don't have a process, they can't do it. And that's why they say the leads are weak. Or you spend a lot of money for people to give you leads and you can't seem to get meetings out of them. So I'm going to walk you through a process that we use that will solve this problem, or help you understand why you may have the wrong person trying to do it, or the person's just not trained and needs to be trained. And if they are trained, they have a chance. There's a process to it, like there's a process to everything else. So I'll give you an example. So we break our leads up into 4 categories. Now, before you get to this, you've got to have a sales and marketing automation software application. And you can do this manually, of course, but that's super hard. I would highly recommend you not do that. But what I mean by sales and marketing automation software, I'm talking about a product similar to Infusionsoft. I'm not telling you to buy Infusionsoft. I'm telling you that's one that we use. There's lots of them out there now. They didn't exist probably 8 years ago, but they do now. And another tool I want you to look at is one called PhoneBurner. So when I keep hearing about these sales reps doing 25 to 30 calls a day, just it makes me, it really bothers me because it's just unbelievable and not necessary. They should be doing 150 to 250 calls a day if they're a hunter. And PhoneBurner will help them do that. So if they've never heard of it, just go to phoneburner.com and you can check it out. It's a nice, clean way to get the call volume up, which will qualify the leads for you in a way that you're probably not doing today. So 4 types of lead: a form submission lead, a hot lead, a warm lead, and a cold lead. Now what we do today, I don't have the time to give you all the details to it, but when we have our sales process, we first start with a campaign that goes out and their leads that come in. Now all of those leads that come in are qualified in those 4 categories, and all based on activity on the website or from the email campaign. In other words, form submission is easy. Quick response time, first couple of minutes of the form submission, somebody should be on the phone talking to them. A hot lead is 8 or 9 activities. A warm lead is 4 or 5 activities. A cold lead may have none. And let's talk about the cold lead for a second, because it's the one we're going to get the most of. I get the most complaints about. And I always tell them, drop the cold lead into what we call a mousetrap for follow-up. But you still need to call them and make sure, because we realize that some of them didn't mean to open it, all that kind of stuff. But we still need to qualify them too. But don't spend all your time there. Make that the last one you do. Obviously, take care of the form submissions first, get the hot leads first, and then qualify them. And based on what they say and how they do it, and there's a lot more details here I can't have time to spend today, but on the hot lead, drop them in what we call a fat duck box or tag that says, this person is somebody interested in setting a meeting right now within the next few days, so I'm going to follow up appropriately. The warm lead is somebody that needs maybe a week follow-up. We drop them what we call a sandbox, and they get touched every week until we convert them either to a form submission or a meeting. And of course, the cold leads go into, again, our mousetrap box, which we touch them either once every couple of weeks or every 3 weeks, or we wait for them to respond to another message that might create some interest that might make them a hot lead. But it gives our BDR/sales professional a way to qualify every single lead. If you don't have any kind of system from doing that, if you're just waiting for people to jump off the screen and ask you to come over and set a meeting with you just because of an email campaign, that doesn't make any sense. So this is a process you have to be good at. Now I'm going to assume, this is a big assumption, that the campaign itself, which is also a big deal, we've verticalized it as much as we possibly can. We've got the right seat size and we've got the right job title, the target that we're going after, the target individual at a company of the right size. So we're not emailing to the receptionist, we're emailing to the buyer that we want to talk to inside of that account, and it's the right size account. We have to check all those boxes first, because if that's broken, the rest of the system is going to break too. Or you're going to find yourself on a lot of appointments that are not the right ones, and you're going to get frustrated with that. I had a client tell me he scheduled 25 appointments and only had one opportunity. Well, that's an easy one. There's a lot of appointments with a lot of the wrong people. Now, if you want to have appointments with influencers and not buyers, you can certainly do that. But unless you're in the appointment business, which I don't think most of you are, that doesn't make any sense to me. So we can figure out a way to do that if we're doing it right and we've sat down and put some thought to what the BDR/sales professional is going to do and how it's organized and the process by which we're using or what we're using to manage it. So you create this leads pipeline that leads to meetings. And believe it or not, there's a correlation between how many you have in Fat Duck, how many you have in Sandbox, how many you have in Mousetrap that leads to a certain number of meetings per month. And it's not that tough. And I'll tell you this, if you have 1,000 leads with no structure, no process, you're going to get 0 appointments. And that's what some of you are experiencing today. Again, Gary Beecham, SPC International. I hope this was helpful. Thank you.